He's
Morning,
also
Brett.
in the dark.
I can give you a little bit of background, but
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Morning.
Yes.
Yes.
Having computer trouble this morning, so I'm going to start on this one
Yeah.
and then go get my other one running so Nancy can join. But Dan is a worship leader this morning. So are there prayer concerns or joys to be shared at this time?
You may have read in the updates that Katrina McConaughey
that's COVID. now.
has COVID and also a parasite. So there's some real concern about her health, and be nice to do some praying about that. Morning, Joseph.
Good morning.
Morning, Joseph.
Morning, everyone.
Morning.
Well, let's remember her in prayer. And as I said, Dan's a worship leader, so he'll speak out of the silence when he is ready. And if the West Newton Friends meeting box up here goes black, it's because I went to get the other computer on so Nancy can join us. So, let's center down and please mute yourself if you can. If you can't, I will. And Dan, when you feel led, please proceed.
Boo. Did I scare anybody? 'Tis the season of scare and fright. No, not the presidential election cycle. It's the time of ghost and goblin stories. Coming soon is Halloween. We went to the Tibbs Drive-In movie theater last Friday. It may seem odd to head to the big screen in October, but this event was created by the Storytelling Arts of Indiana. It was their big seasonal event. In the past, it had been held at the Crown Hill Cemetery, called Ghost Stories in Crown Hill. COVID, which is a scary story in itself, changed that plan. Rather than being crowded into a tent, cheek by jowl, as my dad would say, it became watching and listening to 4 storytellers projected on the big screen at the Tibbs Drive-In. From the comfort of your own vehicle, eating the reasonably priced movie snacks that you brought from home. This was a pleasant experience, even in the rain. The ghost stories were to evoke some trepidation and fright about what might be scary or a gruesome outcome. Indeed, the stories were pretty tame. It was a family event after all. The ghost tale implications of something ominous happening did wind up my ponderer. When had I been truly scared? We grew up with Halloween. We got the little plastic masks from the Five and Dime, and we went up and down State Road 15 and knocked on doors and said trick or treat, and usually got tricks. I mean, usually got treats. Nobody tried to trick us, although our favorite trick was to take along a pocket full of field corn and throw it in their shrubbery. So the slow motion joke would come about next spring when the corn sprouted. That type of Halloween I didn't find very scary. Scared means a sudden shock based upon fear. I have a daughter that likes to jump out of the shadows and hide behind doors and make well-timed loud noises with the hope of getting siblings to jump. When she does, there's usually retribution. They turn around and attack with ferocity. But she laughs and laughs and laughs because she got them to jump. I'll admit there's an excitement to being the scarer and not the scaree. But the scared I'm thinking of is an event occurring over a long enough time period to truly fear a tragic outcome. I was a scoutmaster on a trip east that put us rafting on the New River in West Virginia. It had rained for a few days before, and the river was running high. So much so that the water edges were out into the trees. Our raft rounded a curve, being third or fourth in line, and our guide was distracted by the boat ahead, which had clipped the branches of the end of a tree that was laying horizontal to the river. We ended up coming around the curve in the wrong place to avoid the tree trunk. Our boat lodged broadside against the trunk, and the three folks on the side nearest the trunk were to climb onto the tree. This tipped the raft and flipped the three of us on the downside backwards into the current and sent us under the boat and through the submerged branches. I had enough time underwater to fear getting tangled in the branches and drowning right there. Our personal flotation devices did their job, and we popped up on the downstream side, barely worse for wear. Scared, yes, but the fright wore off with the adrenaline. This was probably 15 years ago or so. These days, I don't scare easily. I'm not really anxious or fearful. I don't know that I really ever have been. As my faith has become more distilled, I think I can point to a scriptural reason why I am usually at peace. It's all the biblical quotes and attributions using the words, fear not. They are in Genesis, and they're in Revelation, and they're in nearly all the books in between. Here are a few selected ones. Maybe you'll recognize some of them. What troubles you, Hagar? Fear not, for God has heard the voice of the lad where he is. I am the God of Abraham, your father. Fear not, for I am with you and will bless you and multiply your descendants for my servant Abraham's sake. Fear not to go down to Egypt, for I there will make of you a great nation. But Joseph said to them, Fear not, for am I in the place of God? Fear not, for I will provide for you and your little ones. And Moses said to the people, fear not, stand firm, and see the salvation of the Lord, which he will work for you today. And Moses said to the people, fear not, for God has come to prove you, and that the fear of him will be before your eyes, that you may not sin. The Lord God of your fathers has told you, fear not, nor be dismayed. There are several references that add, or be dismayed. Fear not, nor be dismayed. Speaking to Israel, fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you, and I will help you. Fear not the reproach of men, and be not dismayed at their revilings. For the moth will eat them up like garments, and the worm will eat them like wool. And an angel vision came to Daniel and said, fear not, Daniel, for from the first day that you set your mind to understand and humbled yourself before God, your words have been heard, and I have come because of your words. And from Matthew, and an angel appeared to Joseph and said, fear not. And fear not those who kill the body, but cannot kill the soul. But the angel said, fear not, Zechariah, for your prayer is heard. And the angel said, fear not, for I bring you good news of great joy. And Jesus said to Simon, fear not, henceforth you will be catching men. Jesus, on hearing this, answered, fear not, only believe, and she will be well. Fear not, you are of more value than many sparrows. Fear not, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. And from Revelation from Jesus, fear not, I am the first and the last and the living one. I died, and behold, I am alive forevermore. With all those fear nots, how can we do anything else but fear not? If I can fear not, and my Holy Spirit say, fear not, then I can be at peace in the turbulent world. Invite the comfort of fear not to come to you as well.
I was listening to Dan, I was thinking about how often I have been fearful. And I've also thought about some of the verses he read. Um, a lot of them involved angels or pronouncements from God. An angel comes down, it seems like the first thing they say is, be not afraid. So what is it about angels that makes them scary? I think it's the sense of the other, that encounter with the spiritual world in a way that we don't normally encounter, something that is outside ourselves, over which we don't really have any control. I remember talking to a therapist one time when about my fear of flying, and he intimated that I had control issues. Yeah, probably. But I remember when I was sort of able to let go of fear was about 4.5 years ago, when I found myself flat on my back in the back of a emergency vehicle being rushed to the hospital. And it was like I had no control, and finally realized I had no control and just had to trust that God was going to be with me. And Dan was good during that period, because he would call all the time and assure me that God was with me. But the fear at that point, after an encounter with, I won't say it was the angel of death, but it was a message of some sort that came through that experience, was that most of my fear got erased at that point. And the freedom to live without fear has been a wonderful blessing in these last 4 years. And I do attribute it to an encounter with the divine that I hadn't had before, that being close, the veil being thin between this life and the life eternal, to just say, well, it is, and it will be. Well, as we come to our time, the close of our time together, are there things that other friends would like to share before we say goodbye for the week?
I had a thought.
Okay,
I had thought while in reflecting what Dan has said, that we need to be careful that we're not the ones who put fear into other people. And my reference there is that my paternal grandmother was greatly afraid of electrical storms. She would literally run around the house covering up everything that was shiny because she thought it attracted electricity or the lightning. And she instilled in this little girl here to be afraid of storms. And every time a storm would come up in the night, I would leave my bed and spend the rest of the night with my parents in their bed. And I have finally, over time, I finally overcame my fear of storms when I understood how they worked and preparations I should make and so on. I think the important thing here is, as I reflect on that, is I should not be one who makes someone else afraid, either by my actions or by words. That I should be one who would help relieve the fear rather than promote the fear.
well, just this is an announcement as clerk of the meeting. As West Newton friends know, we have the Carroll Mills Fund. And that's for outreach to Quaker groups to make significant donations. Last year, we made $5,000 to the Friends United Meetings Girl Child Fund, which was in desperate need. We also gave $2,500 to Ascension House, where some Quakers are working down on the southwest border, and then $2,500 to Quaker Voluntary Service. And our commitment is to spend $10,000 every year until that money is gone. Well, this year we haven't given anything because, for one, we've not been together to discuss what we should do. So I'm going to invite friends to be thinking over the next week or so if there are Quaker organizations who that are not generally within our sphere of giving that we give as a meeting, but special kind of projects or funds that maybe have struggled in this COVID time and could use some assistance. And if we might not consider making those donations this year to be of help to them. So I'll be reminding you of this in emails that go out about meeting and the meeting newsletter, which will be going out very shortly. Lynn has it ready. And if you're not on the meeting newsletter list or a general email list and would like to be, just send me an email or drop me a line somehow. Call me up. So please be thinking about what organizations might need some help from us. Thanks
Just
all.
a few minutes ago, I got a text from Steve saying that he was getting ready to harvest instead of being back for meeting for worship. So he wanted me to give greetings to everyone for him.
Okie dokie. Greetings to Steve out in the field.
Yes, he's worshiping God in the way that he likes to do it best, out in the field somewhere.
Okay, friends, take care. Have a blessed week.